It's the early 80s, and a 57-year-old man is sitting alone in his kitchen at 3 a.m. smoking a cigarette. In front of him, there's an ashtray overflowing with cigarette butts. His wife comes in, takes one look at him, and says, "Honey, what are you doing?" And he looks up at her with tears in his eyes and says, "I've tried so hard to quit, and I just can't." Okay? So in less than 30 seconds, we've given a very, very clear image of a guy hopelessly addicted to cigarettes, smoking at 3 a.m., all that. But I've given you barely any information. I've just given you a couple of details. I've given you, and a couple of other details, but basically you've filled in a picture in your imagination. You probably see the oven. You probably see the color of the kitchen table. You probably see what she's wearing, you see the expression on his face, and you can viscerally and personally identify with it in a way. But I didn't say any of that stuff. I just gave you enough detail to fill the rest in yourself. That's powerful. When you are presenting something in court, whether it's at a podium to a judge, whether it's a hearing, whether it's to a jury, it is spoken, right? You are speaking it. You don't send it to them and then just stand there and have them read it, right? You are speaking it. So once it is spoken and not read off a page, it becomes a completely different thing. It's usually not treated like a different thing, but it is a different thing. And if you want it to be engaging, you have to think of it as a different thing. It is a spoken presentation, not something that is being read. That means that the engagement of the listener is critically important to be done as quickly as possible. You need to get them engaged as fast as possible. Time matters a great deal in oral presentation. And often when I watch people do presentations that are spoken live, whether it's lawyers or non-lawyers, but I'm specifically talking about lawyers, this is often not factored in. The time that is passing while you are speaking. You have seconds to make an impact. Seconds. And if you make an impact and get their engagement in the first couple of seconds, they will listen and give you a few more seconds of attention. And if you keep their attention, they'll give you a few more seconds, and eventually this becomes minutes, and eventually you grow this out to actually them paying attention. But you have to think of it as little increments of attention. Re-earn the attention all the time. If you don't factor that in, you risk the jury getting bored and checking out. They're looking at you, but they're not paying attention, maybe. You risk a judge jumping in and interrupting you. The objective is to get the fact finder to identify with your protagonist. You're saying the victim, but you're the person that you are representing. But you can't literally say, imagine you are this person and these things are happening to you. Really, the only thing you can't do is actually say those words. But everything else should be oriented toward getting them to identify with. And that's what I was talking about earlier, which is to create a character that can be identified with. Create a character that has enough qualities that are common human qualities. Create a character, by create a character, I mean like paint the picture of your client in terms that you can reasonably assume that another human being goes, oh, I think like that, I can identify with that person's struggle. Like I was saying about the movies. Movies don't come out at the beginning and go, imagine you are this character. They just create a character that feels real, and you connect. That is the art of it.